Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today we are in Irvine, California at the Medical Innovation Forum powered by Octane, and my guest is Hank Blank.
Yes.
Hank, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
All right, so a lot going on at the conference. We're on day 2. What brings you out?
What brought me here?
Yep.
Well, I'm Canadian, and it's sponsored. One of the sponsors is the government of Canada. Mm-hmm. So Mama Condry, who is one of the counselors, and he works in the life sciences space, connecting people. And so I came to it, and I've gone to a couple other conferences that Octane's put on, the technology innovation. So I feel like they're a terrific accelerator in Orange County. Yeah. And they put together great programs with speakers that really intimidate me.
Me too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're so smart, you know what I mean? But it's a great environment to learn, right?
Yeah.
And be stimulated, as opposed to seeing something you've seen 50 times before. Yeah. And I've enjoyed the conference. It's kind of not troubling. I want to find the right word. It's kind of sobering, I'll say that.
Okay.
Because you see how many disease states that there are.
Yeah.
And often, they set up the problem first, and the problems are like, oh, wow, they died. That doesn't seem like a good outcome, right?
Yes.
But, so many wonderful solutions and inspiration from Jennifer, who spoke about the contraceptive product. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. We had her, LMD. LMD, I see.
LMD. And I met her once before, and a doctor.
Yes.
4 kids.
Yep.
And has MS.
And she's from Canada, too. Yes. That's where she came from.
Nova Scotia.
I interviewed her. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then she has 4 kids and has MS.
Yes.
And able to rise above that.
I saw it. Amazing woman.
Yeah, amazing woman, and my wife was a pharma rep, used to work in the MS sector, and, it's many people face huge challenges there, never mind inventing a product, and she's still working at her clinic, so there are great inspirational stories, and, it's terrific to see so many companies from Canada that are here presenting, because they're...
That's got to be fun, because I saw in the program, there was a lot of Canadians here.
Yeah.
It's amazing, bridging that, the innovation.
Yeah. But I know from being involved in a couple of Canadian groups here, business groups and social groups, 13% of California's trade is with Canada. A lot of it is produce, I'm sure, but then in the life sciences and entertainment, you just think about entertainment, all the actors that come here, and music and in other areas. So, in a close proximity, and, I'm sounding like I work for the government, but you know what? A very highly educated workforce.
Yes.
Like other countries, we face challenges. I always like to attend groups like this. As I said, to get stimulated, to come home, and because my wife is in the healthcare space and has been a pharma rep, I can share some of the things that, and I said, look at the qualifications for some of these people. And yesterday, those people read, they've got multiple degrees, not only MDs, but, MBA, and then some other letters that I don't know what they mean, but yeah. So
talk a little bit about what you do.
Mm-hmm. Well, as I mentioned, I'm Canadian, so I started my career in the advertising business. And my first account was McDonald's. McDonald's restaurant, so that was a great learning experience.
I just watched The Founder again. One of my favorite movies.
Yeah, Roy Kroc. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I worked for an agency called J. Walter Thompson that was in 90 offices, 90 countries, founded in 1870. It's funny, it doesn't exist anymore. That's how much the advertising business changes, so you have to change. So, and then I worked for JWT for 10 years in Toronto and Chicago. That was the show, the Hancock Building, Mad Men, 700 people at the agency, you know what I mean? Dining room on the 95th floor. Then I ran the National Domino's business. And like many Canadians, we have a strong gravitation to come to the U.S. And I sat on a beach when I was probably 23, 24 in Laguna Beach and said I want to live here. And it took me a little bit of time.
Yeah.
But now I don't live in Laguna, but close by.
Yeah.
So, and I help clients in a variety of ways. I'm a huge networker. And if you look at me, I have 30,000 followers on LinkedIn, because I put out a lot of thought leadership. I give out a lot of advice on networking. I was a mentor at Chapman University on Monday night. I enjoy doing that. And how I help clients, it changes over time. The biggest things I do is I help them with agency searches. So let's say one of these companies says, I want to find an advertising agency.
Yeah.
Well, that's like me saying, I want to find a good doctor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're going to do a Google search. Half of that is sponsored. You know what I mean? You can, you can look up, best PR agency in Orange County and get somebody in Connecticut. So I help them with that. I help them because I do have a huge network, and my network is very broad, that they come to me and say, hey, I need some marketing talent. I need a digital person, And so I help with marketing solutions. My card, it says speaker, and, I've spoken to 25 ad clubs, 25 AMA chapters, many, many groups that have gone away. Unfortunately, COVID impacted a lot of networking groups, and some of them are no longer with us. So that's what I do. I do everything in the marketing space. I'm a connector. If you told me, hey, I'm from Argentina, I could say, oh, do you go over there? It's a natural tendency.
Yeah.
And I have a new presentation. It's called Networking, Why Talking to Strangers is Good for You. And
amazing.
Yeah. You know what? And if you read, there's a crisis of loneliness in the United States, and, and there's a lot of people and, issues with mental health. And there's so much content now and so many articles about just the interaction is important. And not just people that are old, you know what I mean? But not for the elderly or the more senior, but for anybody, for young people, you know what I mean? Often people tell me, you know what, I haven't gone to networking events. I work at home. I'm all totally remote. I don't talk to anybody. I go to a grocery store. I talk to a machine. You know what I mean? There's fewer cashiers. And then I go home and I'm by myself, And I think, just getting involved in conversations, talking to people is a great way to lead an enriched life. And I think a more healthy life on both the mental and the physical fronts.
Yeah.
So,
Hank, final question. If somebody wants to follow up and connect with you, how do they do that?
Well, you know what? You go to, I'm easy to find, Hank Blank, right? So you go to my websites there. You can contact me. You can send me a LinkedIn invite, Hank Blank, pretty easy to find, so
fantastic.
It's not hard at all. Just Google Hank Blank.
Awesome. And for everybody watching, just so you know, we'll put the links to Hank's contact info and all that good stuff and websites in the show notes, so you can just click on the link and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe button. This is a daily show. Each and every day, we're bringing you new content, new ideas, new thought leaders, and new ideas to help you along the way on your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Hank, thanks again for coming on the show.
Okay. Thank you very much for the invite.